We wanted to tell y'all about the process of the house.
By we, she means me. So, first steps is, of course, clearing the land. We are working with a builder, but he's a friend of the family, and so he's, helping us financially by giving us good deals and helping us to be able to choose our own subcontractors. And I'm taking a more active part in the process as well. So, sort of circular reasoning as to what you can do first, because you have to have septic done before other things, but then before the septic can be done, you have to have your driveway cut, and before the driveway can be cut, you've got to have a builder's permit, and it's all very confusing. But I think I've basically got it worked out. And so the first step was the land clearance, and we've got them in right now. In fact, they were there today to cut down trees or push over trees, I guess would be more accurate, and haul away stumps. And then they have a big machine that they'll bring in to grind up the trees into mulch, pretty much.
And a lot of that was shown in this video.
So that gets all pushed over into a big hole that was there on the property, kind of a little gully, and covered up. Nowhere where any structures will be built, so I don't have to worry about soil compaction or anything like that. So the next step will be to bring in grading equipment, and that is sort of getting delayed because they had to do the whole call before you dig thing.
Well, when we got it first checked out by the man that's doing the grading, they're going to have to put a culvert in for our driveway. And originally there wasn't any wires or anything at the top, but literally like a month or less ago, somebody put a line through there.
I think it was AT&T burying phone or internet lines, one or the
something
other.
like that. And so they are gonna they called them today, and they're gonna get them to come out and bury it deeper. So that's what they're waiting on, because they can't get their grading equipment in until they
can cut in the driveway.
In the driveway.
So, so they'll install the culvert and do the encroachment, which is like the entrance part of the driveway. And then I'm gonna cut in the rest of the driveway, so we'll see how that goes. Just basic right now, not like probably the what the final result will be like, but enough for it to serve as like a construction drive. So I'll rent some equipment to cut that in, and then we'll have some rock delivered, and yeah, that'll probably serve its purpose at least while we get the house built, and then we'll add some more to that to make it a little nicer, a little more even for our vehicles to get in and out. We'd like to one day have it paved, but that's like in the future, really. Let's get the house built first, and then we'll worry about paving the drive, because it is a pretty good distance from the road.
Yeah, I mean, you can probably see the house from the road, but it's a long ways compared to anything we've ever had.
I haven't
which I'm
measured
fine
it
with.
out yet. I'm going to be measuring it soon so that we can figure out about how far we would need to go for utilities like gas and electric, because we'll have to be in touch with them soon. So once all of the grading is done, the next step will be to meet with the builder and create a site plan, which will include where the septic and drain field will go, and then we will sort of lay off where the house is going to be. I've kind of measured it out, but it's hard right now because there's a hill, and it's a little harder to measure that until it's all leveled and kind of smoothed out. But I think I have an idea of where the house is going to sit. And then once that's done, we can have the foundation people come out and start digging digging for the footers. So that will be the first technical step of building the house. But of course, land prep is essential, and I have lived on a hill for,
Me too.
well, since before we were married.
Me too, because my parents are on a hill.
And so neither of us have really ever lived in a place where we had a really, really
years ago,
good, usable
Bolivia.
backyard. At least not since I was a teenager, and probably even longer for her. We've always lived on some sort of hill. Where we've lived since we've been married has always been small yards and steep hills. And I'm so tired of living on a hill. So the property that we have now is on
a hill.
hill. And so I told the
A
grading
little
guy
bit, not as bad as
I wanted the hill cut out, which is going to leave a bank on the left side of our property, at least from where the house goes all the way down to the backyard. And I'm estimating that's going to be between like 7 and 10 feet tall. And so we're just going to have that as a natural bank for now. And eventually, another one of those eventual plans will be to install a retaining wall. So we'll see how that goes. But that's going to be expensive. I've done retaining walls in the past in my landscaping work, and smaller, nothing on that scale. But I do know how to do it, and I do know how expensive they are. So it's going to be a little while before we can get that done.
And then...
So, yeah. In the meantime, we need to sell our house because we, thank God, have a lot of equity in our house. We got in 2020, right before the housing market went crazy and prices went super high. So we were able to buy our house.
And this lady was priced to sell because
Yeah.
she had bought
wanted
another
to move.
house already, and she couldn't afford both.
So we were able to get this house at like pre-COVID levels, which is way, way cheaper. And then after we bought the house, the price, the value just skyrocketed. And so that's one of the reasons why we want to move now, is because we have a lot of positive equity in the house. And if we sell the house, then we can use that equity as down payment on the house that we're building. And our hope is to be able to build this house, and between the work we do ourselves and the equity and savings that we have.
And then my dad also does siding. He's going to be one of the contractors. And he does siding, windows, roofing, and
basically everything on the outside, decks, gutters.
So he can save us some money, help us out some with just labor. So that'll help some too.
So we hope with all of that in mind that by the time it's all said and done, the leftover part that we will have to finance will be roughly what we owe now on this house, or maybe a little bit more, so that our monthly mortgage stays about the same. It'll probably go up some. I'm expecting that. Just because even if the mortgage was the same, the value of the house and the property would be greater. So that means more taxes. But, as long as we can keep it pretty close, I will be very, very thrilled about that.
And the house is a good bit bigger than this one.
Yeah, it's about 1,000 square feet bigger than the house that we're in now.
It's got a
which
two-car garage, so that's nice.
It's good enough to give us, and that's not including like the bonus space. So that's just the downstairs living area. Yeah, is 2,400 square foot, and the house that we're in now is 1,500 square foot. And then there's also a 400-foot bonus room above the garage, which we plan to use as like a kid's playroom or partial storage probably for now. So
especially if we've got enough land, we can do a bigger garden. So especially if we have more like canning and stuff, it will probably be used for some storage
our
too.
pantry.
Yeah.
So it's a lot bigger, and I mean, to be able to get a bigger house for roughly the same, ending mortgage payment would be just a huge blessing, and that's really what we're going for. So we think we can do that. We've budgeted as closely as we can.
Yep. So now we're trying to find a place to rent.
Yes.
Well, we looked into renting an apartment, but we've got a couple of dogs and we have a couple of kids.
Not to mention, renting, as I'm sure a lot of you know, is ridiculous nowadays.
Yeah. Everything that we've looked at is like double or triple, honestly.
Our mortgage.
Our mortgage. And so, and for a smaller house than this one. And so if you look at an apartment, then it's usually newer, but it's really small and it doesn't have a yard. And for the kids and for the dogs, I would rather have a yard, especially if the house is smaller. And then, and Jason works from home. And if it was a really small house, it'd be nice to let the kids run around in the yard too. And then, go ahead.
So we're considering what our other options would be, and we thought about living in a camper while the house is being built, because we've had some family in the past and people that we know around here that have done that.
Me?
And yeah, including her. And so
I enjoyed it, but I was a kid.
Yeah.
So.
We've been exploring those options. Don't think I exactly relish the idea of living in a camper, but
my papa though, if you want.
So yeah, a couple of things. One, the advantage of the camper is even if we buy one outright, it would probably a used one. It's still going to end up being cheaper than if we were to pay $1,500 or $2,000 or more in rent, and then that money is gone and you don't have anything to show for it. Whereas if we were to buy a camper outright and live in that, the amount of money that we will save in rent essentially pays for the camper. Plus, at the end of it, when our house is built, we will have that camper that we can choose what to do with. I mean, I'm thinking right now we're
probably
leaning
going to sell
towards
it.
selling it. I think after a year living in a camper, actual camping is probably not going to be an allure for us for a while.
And actually, I think that we'll try to buy a little bit bigger camper than what we would ever want
for actual
camping. Because for actual camping, I wouldn't care if the kids pulled out the couch and slept on that. But for now, we're looking at campers. I've found a couple that we're interested in, and we've been talking to the owners. But for now, we would like one that has bunks, and then there's usually storage on the other side, and then on the other side is like a master bed. And so my papa has land that he said he would let us park on, and it's only like a minute from where the house is being built too. And because my papa gave us that land.
And he has hookups for electric, water, and sewer.
Yeah, he has hookups. He has this building that he used to have his own study in, and it's right off of his house, and he doesn't use it anymore. And so he said Jason could use that for work. And
so I have a separate office space.
Yeah, and there's a big backyard, so the kids and the dogs would have a place. It's not fenced in, but it's definitely like we can definitely use it. And
pretty far off the road.
Yeah, pretty far off the road. And there's like a covered shelter, or like a, what is it called? A covered porch. Mm-hmm. And I had told Jason we're probably going to be buying a picnic table or building one.
Yeah.
And eating out there a lot. But that'll be great because, I mean, well, it won't be great. I'm going to miss this house. But it'll be, I think, way better than living in a tiny apartment with no yard and spending way more
Yeah.
than what we would spend buying a used camper. And then, of course, we're going to help pay for utilities and stuff for my papa because we'll be using that stuff. But it still is going to be a lot cheaper than things that we've been looking at.
Yeah, so it's a very cost-effective option, and there's a lot of pros to it. Of course, the cons are we will
Tiny
have
house
to,
living.
yeah, we'll have to transition the YouTube channel a little bit to tiny house living. That means
/
probably
building a house, hopefully.
yeah, some of this, a lot of our household belongings now will have to go into storage. We might sell some of the bigger items like our couches, which we're not particularly in love with anyway, but and then the rest of it would go into storage, which is something else to consider because we had thought if we're in an apartment, we'll still have to store a lot of our stuff. So we were going to have to pay for a storage container anyway, or for a storage space, I should say, anyway. And that was something else to add to the rent. So, there's always monthly overhead, but I think this is a great way to reduce that. And we won't be renting. Which is funny because, come to think of it, we've never rented before.
That is weird.
And we're still getting away from renting now.
If that's what we do,
this is what we do.
That's like, we're leaning towards it, like 98% sure this is what we're going to do, which I had talked to Jason before in the past about living, well, I was thinking a cute little tiny house, but that was years ago when we first got married and it was just me and him.
And if it was just us, I wouldn't bat an eye because I think that we could really make it work.
And you'd be able to work from home inside.
I could probably work inside the camper, but the prospect of doing this with kids is probably what is the hardest for me because...
well, it's tiny.
If you have kids, you understand.
No, it's very tiny living quarters.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's probably everything so far.
That's it for now, but we will keep you posted as updates happen, and maybe in the next video, if things continue to progress, you'll get to see our camper.
Also really fast. And the good thing is we put our garden in our 5-gallon buckets so we can move them because he's got land that we can set them on.
That's right.
That was another thing about having an apartment because we put our garden in 5-gallon buckets so we could carry them wherever we moved. But apartments without yards, unless it had some kind of balcony, we still wouldn't have been able to carry them with us.
Right.
We would have had to put them like on our land, I guess, or my parents, and then travel out and back to. That wouldn't be nice. So, that's another good thing.
Yeah.
And we've been harvesting some romaine. We've
had
some
several salads from it already.
That's like this big so far, and there's like 2 other ones, and then some squash that's around this big. So far, a lot of it's doing good, I think. So we're excited.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
That's it. See you next time.